Very good morning, dear students. Today I shall take up a chapter on the balance sheet of a commercial bank and the investment policy or the portfolio management policy of commercial banks. You know, commercial banks are profit-making financial institutions. They have to allocate their resources in such a way that they are able to earn profit and they are able to satisfy the requirements of the customers or the deposit holders. Okay, now let me define the balance sheet. The balance sheet of a commercial bank shows the financial position of a bank at a specific point in time. I repeat, the balance sheet of a commercial bank shows the financial position of a bank at a specific point in time. It has two sides, assets and liabilities. Assets are the resources owned by the bank. They show the bank's claim on others. The liabilities are what the banks owe to others. The liabilities show others' claim on the bank. The balance sheet should always balance. Let me mention about the different parts of the liability side. The liability side consists of all kinds of deposits which the commercial banks receive from the customers. Sight deposits or demand deposits. The deposits on current account. The money which can be withdrawn at any time. The notice is called sight deposits or current deposits or deposits which are on current account. Then comes the time deposits or term deposits or fixed deposits. Deposits which cannot be withdrawn without completing the stipulated period. These two deposits mainly make up the total liabilities of the bank. Even though there are saving deposits, but mainly we discuss about current accounts or the sight deposits as well as the fixed deposits. They form the liabilities of the bank. That means others claim on the bank. All kinds of deposits held with the banks are liabilities for the bank because the money has to be repaid to the customers who are depositing the money. Then comes the asset side. Assets are the resources owned by the bank. They show the bank's claim on others. The various kinds of assets can be discussed in the order of their liquidity. How fast they can convert into cash without loss of time and loss of value. The most liquid asset is the cash in hand. The banks keep some cash in its vault. That is the most liquid asset. Cash in hand is the first liquid asset. Then comes balance at the central bank. Every commercial bank has to give a certain percentage of the total deposits the central bank of the country, which is called balance at the central bank. These monies are used for interbank settlement of any kinds of transactions. Number 3, money at call and short notice. 7 days notice, banks give money to the discount houses which can be called back within 7 days. Number 4, the treasury bills, the government treasury bills, the short-term loans to the government which will mature in 91 days, they are very secure. Then short-term, government investment, short-term investments on government securities, maturing less than 1 year. Then comes, the special deposits. Special deposits are the deposits commercial banks have to keep with the central bank, without having any return on them. They are compulsory deposits to be held by the commercial banks. Then comes investments, long-term investments, having a period of more than 1 year to mature. Then loans and advances to the customers, the most profitable asset of the bank, and then the properties and other assets held by the bank. These are the assets of the commercial banks. Remember, when you look at the asset side of the commercial bank, you can say the most liquid assets are the least profitable and the most profitable assets are the least liquid. The liquidity of an asset falls as the profitability increases and the profitability increases as the liquidity decreases. So the most profitable assets are the least liquid and the most liquid assets are the least profitable. As I told you earlier, the most liquid assets are the least profitable and the most profitable assets are the least liquid. Money at hand or cash in hand is the most liquid asset. But remember, it doesn't earn any interest income to the banker. The bank has to keep some ready cash all the time to meet the obligations of the customers. Then balance at the central bank that can be taken back any time when the banks are in emergency or in crisis. Third, money at call and short notice. They can be called back from discount houses within 7 days notice. The investment in treasury bills. The treasury bills are the government bills which will mature 91 days. 91 days loans to the bank. 91 days loans to the government given by the banks. Then comes short-term investments maturing below 1 year. These are all liquid assets. Items. First 3 items are the liabilities. Items 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 comes under what is called reserve asset ratio. The most liquid assets. What are the reserve asset ratio? The percentage of total assets which are held in liquid form or ready cash. How do we find the reserve asset ratio? RAR. We can say reserve asset ratio. RAR equals total liquid assets divided by total assets. Okay, so the percentage of total assets held in liquid form is called reserve asset ratio. Those assets are very liquid. Okay, but other things like long-term investments, loans and advances to customers, and properties of the bank, they are all illiquid assets. Okay, the investment is a profitable thing. Long-term investment means the bank can charge higher rate of interest from the customers, so the bank can make some money. The loans and advances to customers for long-term period is the most profitable asset of the bank, because the bank can earn so much of interest income for the shareholders by giving long-term loans to the trustworthy customers. Okay, properties like buildings are least liquid assets and not profitable also. They cannot be converted into cash very easily. Now, a strong commercial bank or a sound commercial banking policy requires following a proper investment policy, or what is called a portfolio management policy. While distributing their assets, the commercial banks have to achieve three important objectives: liquidity, profitability, and safety. These are the three objectives or the cardinal principles of the investment policy of the commercial bank, or the cardinal principles of the portfolio management of commercial banks in every part of the world. Okay, what do you mean by liquidity? See, commercial banks are profit-making financial institutions. Okay, they are publicly limited companies which should earn profit for their shareholders. Okay, at the same time, they should be able to meet the obligations of their depositors, because whenever the depositors want money, they have to be guaranteed that their money will be given back to achieve the confidence of the public on the financial soundness of the banking system. Okay, so the commercial banks are faced with three conflicting objectives to be achieved: liquidity, profitability, and safety. What do you mean by liquidity? Well, distributing their assets, they have to accomplish these three objectives simultaneously. Okay, but these objectives are conflicting objectives while distributing the assets of the commercial banks. Okay, liquidity means the ease with which an asset can be converted into cash without loss of time and loss of value in terms of money. The ease with which an asset can be converted into cash without loss of time and loss of value, in terms of money is called, what is called, the liquidity. Okay, commercial banks should be always able to achieve liquidity, because the commercial banks can achieve liquidity only if they are able to meet the obligations of the customers. They should be able to honor the checks presented by the customers. They should be able to give cash on demand. Okay. So the commercial banks have to keep all the time with them some ready cash in their vault, some balance at the Bank of England, some money called short notice, some investments on short-term treasury bills of the government, which can be called back in 91 days or 91 days maturity. Then we can say short-term investment of less than 1 year of maturity. All these are liquid assets. Okay, but remember, the commercial bank should always be liquid to meet the obligations of the depositors or the customers. The commercial banks do not have enough cash to meet the obligations of the customers. People will have no confidence on the financial strength of the commercial banks, and the commercial bank cannot survive. So liquidity means the capacity to produce cash on demand without loss of time and loss of value, in terms of money. So a commercial bank must achieve liquidity as the most important policy of investment policy of the commercial bank. Then comes profitability. Remember, commercial banks are profit-making financial institutions or publicly limited companies. They have to meet the obligations of shareholders. The shareholders want maximum profit. To achieve shareholders' requirements of profitability, the commercial banks have to keep certain assets, which are profitable. Long-term investments are profitable because they earn high interest income for the bank, which can be used for giving profit to or dividends to the shareholders. Then also loans and advances to customers. The longer the period of the loan, the higher will be the rate of interest the bank can charge from the customers. So these are very profitable assets of the bank. But remember, these profitable assets are least liquid. Once you give loans to the customers, the money cannot be called back, and so the bank will not be able to meet the obligations of the depositors or the customers. So profitable assets are less liquid, and liquid assets are less profitable. The most profitable assets, like loans and advances to the customers and long-term investments, are the least liquid, and the most liquid assets, like cash in hand and balance at the Bank of England or the central bank, money called short notice, and treasury bills, investing in treasury bills, all these liquid assets are least profitable, because when the commercial banks allocate their resources, their assets, to achieve a balance between liquidity and profitability, they have to have enough cash at their disposal all the time to meet the obligations of deposit holders, and they should have enough profit to meet the requirements of the shareholders. So the commercial bank is torn between two conflicting objectives of liquidity and profitability, because the most liquid assets are least profitable and the most profitable assets are least liquid. So the commercial banks have to arrange in such a way that there is enough liquidity to meet the obligations of deposit holders and enough profitability or enough profits to meet the obligations of shareholders. Okay. Then comes the third cardinal principle of commercial banking investment policy, called safety. The commercial banks always should give loans to the people who are trustworthy customers. There is a big, risk in giving long-term loans to people who are untrustworthy or unknown to the banker. Okay, so the bank always tries to, encourage people with saving habits, people who are, trustworthy investors, and people who are willing and able to pay back the loans taken from the bank. Okay, there is a conflict between safety and profitability. The high-risk loans give the maximum profit to the banks, but they are not safe at all. Okay, see, the most safe form of investment is investing in treasury bills, which will mature after 91 days. Government will not cheat. Again, investments in short-term government securities are also very secure and liquid and safe, but they are less profitable. So if the banks try to look for safety, then banks cannot give long-term loans to the unknown people or even business people. Sometimes they may not be willing to pay back the money on time with interest. The principal amount has to be paid with interest, and that will not happen. So sometimes in the high-risk loans, long-term loans are high-risk loans which will earn high level of profitability, but there is no safety. Okay, investing in short-term securities and government treasury bills, and giving money to the discount houses for money at call and short notice and all are very safer form of investment, but they are not profitable. So it's a conflict between safety and profitability. So a commercial bank has to achieve, a proper balance between these three cardinal principles of liquidity, profitability, and safety. A bank should be liquid all the time to meet obligations of its deposit holders or customers. The bank should be profitable to meet the requirements of the shareholders. Shareholders want more profit, and the deposit holders want more liquidity. Okay, and also the banker should be able to lend the money to people who will repay the money with interest. So safety is also very important for the banker for long-term run. Okay, if the bank do not have enough cash to meet the obligations of the customers, people will lose confidence in the banking system and they will run out of the bank. Bank cannot survive. Okay, if the bank does not have enough profits to meet the obligations of the shareholders, the shareholders will be unhappy and the bank cannot function smoothly. So the bank is torn between three conflicting objectives of liquidity, profitability, and safety. Okay, so the secret of success lies in striking a sound balance between liquidity, profitability, and safety. Okay, that is the major function of the modern bank, because they have to strike a sound balance between liquidity, profitability, and safety. There is a constant tug of war between the competing aims of liquidity, profitability, and safety. Summarizes the functions of a modern bank. A banker has to strike a sound balance between liquidity and profitability and safety. Then only the bank can have a sound investment policy or portfolio management policy. This is about the balance sheet of a commercial bank and the portfolio management policy of central bank, commercial bank. Okay, study well this topic. Very important for the examination. Study well. All the very best.